Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, TheRumpledOne, coming to you Tuesday, January 19th. The year's 2021. Let's talk trading. Trading with Confidence, Part 2, with Walmal. Now, I have to give you this disclaimer. These videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine and different from Walmal's. Walmal, trading with confidence. We ran out of time as usual. So, one of the things I was thinking is that there's certain skills that traders need to have, certain tools traders need to have. And I think if when you start to develop those skills and you have those tools, that helps with confidence.
Yeah, well, I would agree with that. I mean, the thing is, we talk about indicators and all that type of stuff, but what are they? They're nothing but tools. The tools in the hands of someone who doesn't have skill to use them, they're useless. You're sitting there and you're liable to go and hurt yourself. It's a little bit of a gruesome story, but I remember when I was a little kid and I was out back chopping wood with my dad, and what happened was we chopped wood and I wasn't doing something right, and literally I broke the axe head off and it came back at me, and I got injured from that. That was called using a tool when I didn't have really the skill to use it. Now, the thing, this is how this relates back to trading, and that is that in order to go and learn how to use that axe, I needed to go actually out there and do it. I had to go out there and practice. I had to go out there and actually chop the wood. And by doing that over and over again, making mistakes, learning how to chop wood, learning how to split wood, well, eventually I got pretty good at it, where, before it would take me, if I was trying to split logs, it'd take me sometimes 3, 4, 5, 6, swings at the axe to go and get it to go through the log, until by the time I was a teenager doing it, I was doing it in one swing. Part of it was because of strength, but a lot of it came down to becoming skilled at what I was doing. And what was nice about it was that eventually got so skilled at it that you then had confidence. I didn't have to think about it. In the beginning when I was chopping wood, I had to think about, where am I going to place the log? How am I going to make sure the log stands up on the end? How do I make sure that I swing all the way through? How much strength should I put into it? How much is too much strength? All those different components. Then by the time, again, as a teenager, I wasn't even thinking through it. It was just more of placing the log, swinging at the log, throwing the split pieces over to the side. It just became second nature.
Kind of like trading. Would it be kind of like when you're trading, you make your 2 pips, you exit the trade, you throw them over on the side, right?
That's exactly right, And the thing is, though, we've been trading together now for, basically, I guess, 2 or 3 hours. I don't remember exactly when we started trading together. But, I know, TR, you saw me, there was several times today where I just got out. I said, okay, I got 2 pips, I'm gone. I got a pip and a half, I'm gone. In fact, there was one trade, I'm gone with .3. I got 3 points, okay, and I was gone. And it was just because of that skill level of just knowing how it was going. Was I right every time? No. In fact, it's just the reality. There were times where I got out, with 2 or 3 pips and said, oh my gosh, if I would have stayed here, I would have had 10 or 15 pips. But, when you look at the number of trades I've taken today, the reality is I got all the wood split. I got all my logs split. I got all the wood sitting on the side. I've piled up a bunch of pips for the day. It's been a good day. And that's what builds your confidence as well, because you've now taken something and you've honed it in. You've learned to go and take the actual tool, use the tool, and use the tool effectively, so that you go and just stack the wood.
Yeah. So, with the boys and girls and the non-binary traders out there, if they were using the Walmal method and they went short at 36.10, they would have maybe got their fingers chopped off there on that trade. But did you take that trade, or did you pass on that trade?
I believe I passed on that trade. Let me just go. I got the wrong chart up. Let me go and pull that chart up just so I can see that.
Oh, and I've got the chart up, the new chart up for them. So
okay,
yeah.
great. I did not take that trade, and the reason why I didn't take that trade was because when it went and crossed that 36.10 line, that was the very first candle of the hour. And I just don't do that unless I see a lot of momentum. Now, there are times I take it, but I usually want to see a lot of momentum. The second part of that was if you look left, and that's the whole thing, look left, we have all those wicks down there. So I'd be taking a trade into a bunch of wicks. What I've learned through experience is don't take trades into wicks unless you're willing to say, okay, I'm taking a trade into a wick, knowing that this thing has got a very, very good high probability of coming right back against me. So what does that mean? If I'm going to take that trade and I get into that trade, I'm going to get into that trade and look for that exit button immediately. And if I would have taken this trade, when it broke that, and the thing is, on my chart, it only broke it by 1 point. I don't know what it did on your chart. My charts are a little bit messed up today because the broker I'm using kind of had some problems around that time. But if I had taken that trade, I probably, as soon as that thing whipsawed right around back up on me, I probably would have gotten out of that trade and taken maybe a 2-pip loss, just because, you know what, I'm taking a trade into wicks. It's the first candle of the hour. That's probably not a smart thing to do, and so, if I was taking it, I would be taking it because I was hoping for some momentum. But also looking left there, we had 1, 2, 3 red M5 candles in a row. That's a lot of push down. And also, you had the last M5 candle was kind of smallish in size, and it had some wick on it as well. It's telling me that, hey, this thing is starting to, peter out a little bit. Maybe we'll just go wait. That's not to say they couldn't have blasted through. The market can do whatever the market wants to do. But my training so far says, you know what, stand aside. There'll be another trade. And what I did was, when it broke to 36.20 the first time, I let that one go. But that second time when it broke to 36.20, I went and picked up, I think, if I recall correctly, 3 pips on it. Could have gotten as much as 6 pips on it, but I think I got 3 pips on that trade. To me, that was a much safer trade. I wasn't trading into immediate wicks to the left, although there was some wicks over the last hour, but they were pretty far back. And then the second thing was I waited for that second penetration there, and it just made more sense for me to go and do that, and that's why I did it.
Yeah. So now I'm going to bring up the chart, that we've been using today to let the traders out there see it. It has my new TRO 2021 tug of war candles on it. And basically all I did was I wrote an indicator. And this is the open. So you can see here from high to the close, it's red. And then from the close down to the low, it's green. And so basically it's like a tug of war between buyers and sellers. And when you start to look to the left, if you see a bunch of red, then it's just like, well, chances are price is going to go down. But if you look to the left and you start to see green, chances are price is going to go up. And you can see how price is actually covering. At least for me, it's working pretty well. Now, you also see a whole bunch of these H1 candle close lines. And what I did was I took TRO HL5, and I'm only showing the close, and then come down here, 1 hour, 120 bars with shift of 1. So I don't have the current close on there from this one, but I have on the second one, I do have the current close, where I'm showing, instead of pips from the open, it's ATR percentage from the open. And I also have the TRO dynamic SR support resistance indicator. And what we found out was we're basically trading the white space between the lines. And, we take our 2 pips or so and we get out. And not only that, we know if you're in a trade and price stops at a line, chances are just get out. Now, sometimes, you might take a couple pips and it runs. Other times, it'll hit that line and then reverse. So over the hour, it's easy to take, 3, 4, 5 2-pip trades.
Yeah, and it's actually pretty easy. And what we're doing is we're doing horizontal line trading. That's what we're doing. Well, what we're doing is we're drawing a line in the sand and taking a trade at that line. And it's just that the lines that we're choosing to use is the H1 closes, you know. And if you look at the candle, what's really, really amazing is that, you know, there's this idea, you know, in trading anyway, of that, you know, the significance of certain time frames, you know, the open and close of a line has some type of significance, because what's going on is that everybody at the end of the hour said, you know what, this is what the price should be at that. Now, it may change the very next minute, but at that point in time, everybody went and said, that's the place where price should be. Well, that tells me that there's some type of significance there. And so when I get to that line and I cross over that line and there happens to be free white space all the way to the next line, that's opportunity for me. Or for that matter, if I happen to be in a trade and I'm advancing towards that particular line, I'm going to say, you know what? We closed at that line. That means a lot of traders out there went and said, there's some significance to that line. Okay, you know what? I'm going to go and watch it. That doesn't mean to get out at that line, but what it does mean to me is that, okay, when it gets there, you know, pay attention, see what it's going to do. See if it's going to bounce off that line or see if it's going to go through it. And when you go back and look at the charts and you look at those clotheslines and you go all the way back, it's just amazing how many times that line just carries significance going into the future.
Yeah, because let's see, there was, what was the line? I think I was trading at was it 36.13? Wasn't that the line I kept trading at? Yeah.
Yep, 13.4, I believe.
Yeah, well, on my chart is 13.3, and so price would get down. Actually, it was over here. I took a trade here. I got a little anxious here. Took a trade, took some heat, but as you can see, it did it, and then I did it again here. It was I actually got in a little early, took some heat, and then once again it went up. And then here I didn't take any of these trades, because one thing with this dynamic support resistance, the reason I got in the heat, like for example right here, it put in dynamic support, and I believe there was a 2 ball here or 1 ball here at the time. And what happened was I jumped in, but I didn't let this candle close and to see what this next candle will do. But you can see here, you've got 1, 2, 3. And so what I'm doing now is I'm waiting for that third one. And I'm waiting for these two to close, and then I'll start trading at this line. So you can see here, this candle started here and just came down red. So that wouldn't have been a trade short. But here, this candle put in, this candle closed, I could jump in right here, and there was pips to be made. And then the same thing happened here. It put in, and then right here, I don't really have to wait for the 2, because this is pretty much all in the same area. So it put in a 2 ball. I could have either jumped in at 13.3 or at 14.3. Could have been out at 15.7. Once again, you know, a pip or so in the pocket. When you're trading heavy, you know, $50, $100 a pip, that's folding money. And we got about a minute and a half left in the 15 minutes.
Yeah, that goes quick, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And the thing is, this is relatively easy trading. There's very little stress in it, because you're either going to win or you're going to lose. And the nice thing about it is it's over within literally a few minutes.
Or a few seconds sometimes.
Exactly right.
And so right here, this would have been another good example where you had the 1 ball, the first, second diamond, and on the third diamond, you can see here, it was right at this 22.6 line, and then it moved up. So there was an opportunity to grab 2, 3, maybe 4 pips if you rode it all the way.
Yeah, that's the beauty of this method, you know. And, you know, I know some folks who say, I thought you only traded crossing horizontal lines. Yep, that's exactly what we're doing. We're trading horizontal lines. And
yeah.
It's just that we're having a different indicator put them up on the screen based on what price has done in the past.
Yeah.
And that's what's important.
Yeah, so fellow traders, I hope that helped. I hope maybe you find something there, give you a little more confidence. And, you know, you just have to get the experience and trade, because it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks. This is the Rumpled One, over and out.